All right, hello again. It's a few days since I made the last video, so I figured I'd sit down and do another one. How about that? So I have I think it's 18 by 24, yep, that's what it is. Black canvas. Put a little bit of linseed oil on there. Again, you can use any clear medium that you want to use. I prefer linseed oil anymore. It goes on really quickly. It's way thinner than some other stuff, and you don't need as much. So be careful, don't put too much. But I usually will do this and have this step done before I start a video. And today I said, no, I'll just go ahead and do this while the camera is going. So I'm going to find a brush. Let's use a 1-inch brush. It's one of my old trial brushes. Again, we have brushes now, but we're out of stock of them. They'll say paint with brim. If they don't say paint with brim, you don't have a paint with brim brush. So they'll be back in stock pretty soon. But I'm going to use this brush, and I'm going to do just a quick, easy, basic Northern Lights scene. Now, we all know one of the issues with doing a black canvas and trying to get the paint to kind of show up is you can't really see where you're putting the colors too well. Well, I'm going to put a little bit wherever I want. Now, if you're trying to do this along with me, don't worry too much about where your colors are. What I want you to worry about is making sure that you have paint on the whole canvas. What you don't want to have is a speck of canvas uncovered, because when you put the white on there for the lights, you're just going to have a chalky substance up there. I'm going to put another little speck of color up here. And again, you can overlay. You can do these a little easier so that you don't have to worry about it too much. You could put, crimson on half and then finish the rest of it with green, whatever you want. But for me, I wanted to just kind of put a little bit on here pretty quickly. And again, you can always test your canvas. Make sure you got some color. So there's in the red. Let's just touch the blank canvas. Nothing there, right? So you want to make sure you don't see any of that. I mean, you may want to test your canvas several times. And I didn't bring any paper towels back here. Real smart. So I think if that's a sky and I've got plenty of color in there already, I'm going to go ahead and grab a little extra. And I'm going to keep that horizon line about down there. We'll have a little bit of this show up in the water, of course. And you can see I'm not really worried about where I put it. Just kind of put it up there and let it go. And it's not going to match perfectly. Unless I did actual shapes that are, that stand out together. Yeah, maybe just a little bit right there. And then I'll take a different brush. I'm going to take this one. Here's one of my brushes. It's got the old paint with brim on it. And you can see they stain. This one's been used probably 10, 12 paintings. And they're going to get some paint stains in them because they're unbleached hairs, so they're just kind of natural. Let's see here. I'm going to take some sap green now. Boy, that sap green I got out is really thick. You guys should be able to see this, but you can't. Woo, that's thick. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to lay some sap green in places. That's very thick. I'm going to have to put just a touch of linseed on my paint even. Woo! It was an old tube I had laying around. There we go. Compared to how the crimson went on, then this is much different. So what I want to do here is I want to overlap the colors. Now again, this is one reason I don't like having this part on camera, is because I take my time and make sure I get it covered nice and right. But it's very boring to watch. But again, I'm just overlapping those colors. Let a little bit of the green go up into the crimson. And if you kind of eat up a little bit of the crimson, that's okay. Now one thing you do want to watch out with these two colors, and I can kind of see it on my brush a little bit even. You don't want to see a lot of brown, so just barely go against that crimson, because the crimson and the sap green will make a very pretty, if you're intending it to happen, very pretty brown. Some people have referred to it as a Christmas brown, red and green. Now if you had phthalo green up here, you would actually get a black if you got too much of your crimson and phthalo green together. So whatever green you're using, just be a little bit careful about that. And again, just making sure I got the whole canvas covered, because that's more important than me trying to rush here. There's nothing wrong with slowing down, taking advantage of your time here. I'll never understand why everybody wants to rush. Now, if you wanted to rush and be done with your painting real quick, I don't want to spend 3 hours on this, right? But if you're wanting to rush and just get done, maybe painting's not for you. it's not a competition to get it done quicker. Just slow down, take a sip of coffee, which I had a cup myself, and just, let it happen. Let it happen. Kind of scrubbing that color in there. And again, I don't need to test it. I can see that I got plenty up there. So I'm just going to let that be. Because that's long enough on that step. Let's grab, oh, there it is. I'm trying to look for my fan brush here. Alright, so I'm going to take some white now. Got those colors. And again, one of the big things is to make sure that you don't see any speck of uncovered canvas on your painting. On your canvas, sorry. Uncovered spot on your canvas. I guess it's a painting, even though, you could just say it's done. And you can see the colors just a little bit. Let's look on my monitor here and see what we got. Yeah, my glare's not too bad today. I'm doing this one during the day, so it's a little bit better. It helps with the glare a little bit. On a black canvas, that glare can really eat you up. So I'm going to grab a fan brush and we'll grab a little bit of white. And do these lights however you want once you see, if you've never done them. If you've done them, you know how to do them. Nothing fancy here. We're not reinventing the wheel or anything. So I like to kind of get my lines figured out for this. Just by taking a little, just kind of coming in there like that. Oh, I got a good bit of crimson in this one. And maybe there's one right here, and I'm going to keep it. And I'm just kind of being loose and free with that. Now, that's not the only thing I'll do with these. And then maybe there's another one right there. And he just kind of goes off the canvas, but it just jerks back up there. I don't know. See that? Alright. So, the reason I do those lines, it gives me the opportunity to kind of go back and just kind of sock a little bit back on here. You don't want to do all of these again. You get it really messy. You get a lot of white here. You'll eat up all the dark. And sometimes the dark is nice in the sky when you're doing these. I'm not even going to reload. Just kind of tap over my line again. Yeah, I want a little bit up in there. I'm going crazy with these. I don't know how this is going to look. Alright, so we got that done. And we're going to make sure I'm still recording. I'm forgetful, guys. So again, I want to be a little bit, I want to come down just a little bit more with a little bit of this color. Okay? Not a lot of paint here. Just a little bit of residue that's left on the brush. Because I want to have some hills back in there, and I want to make sure that I see some light behind those. Alright, so how do we do Northern Lights? Super easy. I'll start up here. I'll put my hands not too much in the way. I'm just going to take that brush and just kind of pop these guys up. Make little noises as you go, it's even better. Ooh, there's what I like when that crimson kind of comes in there as the star of the show. Got more crimson. I've done this one before. Not for a YouTube video or anything, but that's just kind of one I've taught before. It's an easier one. But see that? And you can pull these up all day. I could sit in here all day and just keep pulling. So be careful about that. Yeah, just going to take that and just go pull. I like to turn the brush different ways. Sometimes I'll be vertical with this as I'm doing Northern Lights, and sometimes I'll turn it horizontal. You'll see me probably start switching now to go a little bit more horizontal. And there we go. There goes another. Boy, that looks nice. I love all that crimson. My goal is to go, if I pull down a little bit even. As long as you pull in the same direction, it doesn't really matter. What I don't want to do is start like pulling straight and then all of a sudden go sideways. Not that probably could happen even, What I was getting ready to say and what I started saying was one of my goals is to go paint the Northern Lights on location. Somewhere that there are beautiful lights that I could paint. That's where I want to be. Woo! Boy howdy. I love all these little guys down in here. Again, you can get too many. But you got to make that determination when that happens. I can't make that for you since I'm not with you. Alright, that's perfect. Alright, so I'm going to take my knife. Like I said, it's quick painting. I'm going to try to start doing one a week. Even if it's something quick like this, it may help somebody to get some paint out and start painting. It also may help me to paint more. So while the garden and the outside is kind of nasty, I'm probably going to try to do one a week. That's no promise. There'll probably be weeks I don't do them, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to take my knife, and I'm going to take, I have a little bit of Prussian blue. The only colors I have out are Prussian blue, sap green, and crimson, and white. So I got 4 colors that way. I'm going to take mostly sap green. I'm going to put a little bit of blue in there, and I'm actually going to put a little bit of the crimson too. I want it to be pretty dark. Yeah. A little bit of crimson. I didn't want brown, that's why I didn't mix the crimson and the green straight. So I needed a little something different. So we use a little bit of, I can mix up a pretty good pile of this actually. So, probably a couple Hershey Kisses at least. There we go. It makes a really pretty green, but it's almost black, look. That's the color. So it looks black, but it's not. Not black, but it's black. Right? Alright. So we will go, we'll go to this, we'll go to this one we put this, the green on with. It's dirty. And I want to just think about this. I want to think about there being little footy hills back in here. You could put a whole mountain, you could put a big snowy mountain, but I don't want that today. I'm going to cut these lights off just a little bit, maybe right there. And I'm just going to tap. See how I'm pressing down and moving? Kind of pressing down and moving. I'm not really worried about the shape right at the start. I can always go back and want a little bump there, just kind of go outside that. Okay? And whenever you do these little footy hills, whether you're doing them on a black canvas or a white, you just kind of sock that paint in there on top, get that nice top edge, and then you start shaping the underneath part. So this back part, you just kind of smack it in there really. And I like this to kind of have a little bit of depth in there, so I like the middle to be a little bit higher, the sides to come down a little bit more. So I can even bring another little footy hill in here. Somewhere in there. We'll figure out where we want them all there. And then over here, I don't want to kill all these lights, but I want to kind of, hold that for a minute. I want to kind of bring another one that kind of cuts right into that. And I can, here in a minute, what I can do is make sure, this one could be in front, this one could be in front of this one. It doesn't really matter at this point. I'm not locked into anything so far. And that's one of the best things about painting these guys. Is that you're never locked in. These little foothills can move, change, and you can go again. Add some little bumps in places, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Sorry for the banging. This part of it there. You got an easel like mine. Alright, so that's about right. I got my horizon. We're below half. I don't want to ever cut my canvas in half. Got those lights showing up pretty nice. And you can make those brighter. You can always go back and put a little more white in them. But I think it's fine for today. What I want to think about now, and I wish I had a paper towel. That would really help. That's why I put on my palette. Now I'm going to take this brush. It's not too dirty yet. I'm going to take that. I'm going to grab a little bit of white. And I'm just going to think about some color in here. Look at that. There we go. I mean, however much you want to pull down is up to you. I like to make sure you're pulling straight down. Now be careful. You could, with the crimson that's on here and everything, you could start seeing some of that brown color. I'm seeing it, but I don't really care. You see it on my brush. See, it looks brown. That's where the green and the crimson mixing. So I always recommend for people that really worry about it, grab a brush and clean it if you need to. I'm lucky. I've got 20 brushes laying out. Well, maybe not. I don't have 20, but I've got quite a few. Now I'm just going to pull a little bit of that dark into that water too, just enough to make me think that I'm fooling somebody, that could be a little bit of a reflection back in there. But it's so bright, maybe it wouldn't reflect that much. Like it would just be the lights reflecting on the water. You wouldn't see too much of the dark areas for the foothills. And go across that a little bit. Slow down on your pressure there a little bit. And again, however you want that to look, you could sit here and make it look a little bit better, but for me, I've painted, like I said, I've painted this one before. I'm mainly doing it just to kind of demonstrate, right? So I'm going to take that, it's still pretty clean, and I want to think about putting some highlights back in here. What I don't want to do is use too much white. So I'm going to use a good bit of white to start. And I may touch, my white's really thick too, so I'm going to touch into my linseed oil just to thin that white down just a little bit. And that will also help the color stick a little bit, right? So I'm going to grab a little touch of crimson to start. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. There we go. Almost looks like Pepto-Bismol. Right in here. Just going right outside that edge just a little bit. I don't want to leave a dark edge. I'm just going to start tapping. Now I want to save some over in here for that to, or the green to kind of show up too. I don't want to, it's not necessarily snow, and it's almost, it could be snow. It's up to you. The northern lights are mainly out when it's snowy, so in the colder months in most places. I'm going to switch to a green now. That's a little bit, white's a little too bright for me. After I caution you guys, I got mine a little too bright. Let's see if I like this a little more. Yeah, I like that way better. I may show you a little trick here. You can knock that down a little bit. That's mostly green. Again, I want these foothills to kind of have that hilly feel without much paint. Just kind of tapping there. Foothills are the easiest thing you could ever paint in your life. Maybe right there's another good little spot. And just kind of, again, almost the same way. Mess that up, so we don't want it to look the same. One thing you should notice is all my little hills are kind of coming down towards the water. Make sure of that, because that's important. Probably more important than most things, actually. And I'm going to show you how to fix that in just a second. I'll go ahead and finish this out over here. I'll just kind of sock this on here again. Just kind of doing this quickly. Whatever you see here is up to you. Doesn't have to be what I see, right? Now, I'm going to try just to kind of put a little green over top of that. There we go. I'll bring that one down right in there. I don't mind if I see a little bit of that white underneath, but a little too much white. Don't worry about if it comes into the water a little bit. You just don't want to get it as bright right in here, because that wouldn't look quite as good, I don't think. Alright, so another thing we could do here real quick, make sure that we've got a little bit of that pulled into the water. That also will clean up anything that we may have snuck into that water. Sometimes you'll get a little dirty brush in there. And then, okay, there we go. And we need a water line, don't we? Now, there's one time I wish I had a second knife, because I don't have any paper towels to wipe that off with. Let's see. Let's just change it up here. Can I use that? Probably. I got an old palette knife here. And again, I don't want to use straight white. So maybe just a little bit of the green in my paint, just a little bit, just to kind of dull it. Again, you could use whatever. Let's see, I've never used this knife for a water line, so there we go. Yeah, it works okay, but I'm gonna try to clean my knife. I've got some palette knives that are a little more traditional looking that work pretty good, but that one, I'm not loving it. I can just wipe this off on the palette. There we go. I think it'll be fine. There we go. And I've got mine on the bottom. You can put your paint on top. Either way works. I just want a little bit of some water line back in here. There's a good bit on the knife. You don't need much. Especially on a black canvas. You keep sawing on a black canvas, and you probably have done this if you painted before. You'll start seeing that black canvas coming back out. it'll want to come back out and play. Just a little bit here and there, and then just you can see it right there. You probably can't see it on the video, but if you were here, you can see what I'm talking about. I'm cutting through the paint that's under there back to the black canvas. And that's not always a positive thing. Alright, let's paint some trees. I'm going to take my, it's here somewhere. I'm going to use a filbert. This will take me just a little bit longer, but I like the way the filbert trees look better. They always seem to look a little nicer to me. Again, that's an opinion. You could paint these way quicker with the fan brush, but I'm a filbert fanatic. Double F. Alright, so we've got, nothing down here. You can put something if you want, but I don't want anything. We'll put a tree right here, and be very careful if you're using a filbert. You don't want a big line, so I'm using no pressure. Just kind of bring it all the way down. I'm going to put all my tree shapes in here. Oh man, I don't want to kill all my nice lights. Yeah, but I need another big tree right here. You don't have to have them as big as me. There's two. And maybe a smaller one right here. And an errant hair come off of my filbert, it looks like. Yep, I can see it. I didn't have it chiseled quite good. You can see where it made a little mess there, so I'll just go back. Kind of clean that up. Alright, now we start painting filbert trees. The same method, so if I was using a fan brush, I'd turn my hand all the way around my brush, go in with just a corner, always let my hand drop just a little bit. I'm just going to barely touch to start. Like, I mean, it's such a little touch. And you want to vary those strokes. And you want to let these trees start growing a little bit. You'll run out of paint pretty quickly, so you'll want to go back and reload as you're working. The one thing that I really like, and you could even try this, one thing I like about the filbert, more than how it paints the dark part of your tree, I love the highlighting of it. So if you prefer, sock it on there with a fan brush, a 1-inch brush, whatever, and then try to highlight it with the filbert. I know that sounds weird, but it just works. I know it does because I've done it. And it's so nice. Because all you're doing here is little bitty marks. The fan brush covers a little bit bigger area quicker. Again, if you've been here before, you know me, I don't care how long it takes me to paint it. Not a race here. I'd rather my trees. I really like trees. I think I've said that plenty of times. And I really respect trees, so I wanted them to look as good as I can possibly make them. Okay? So as I come down, I'm going to have to, right there, I probably didn't need to put as much water on it. That always makes it a little harder to get through that white, but just sock a little more color in there. That's why we made up a big old pile of paint. Sometimes we need a little bit more paint. I don't want to eat up all my water either. I may have already ate up too much, so I hope if you try these, you always kind of gauge it based on what you want, not on what I do. Like, I love my water. I don't put any trees. I don't know, put a little land under here or something. It needs something just to kind of finish out the painting, I think. But maybe you like your water so much you don't even need to put much. When I get down here to this part, I can really start going crazy. I can really smack this on here. Sorry again for the... Sorry for the noises. It's just the way the easel works. But it's a good easel. I wouldn't take this for any easel you can give me. I always like to go back, make sure I don't have too many that are like right next to each other. Because if I do, I'll just go ahead and just kind of combine them. Those little trees get pretty big at the base. They don't have like that many little spots showing. We'll try to do this one quicker. Even a little sparse occasionally. They look really cool when you do that. You also, if you leave it a little sparse, sometimes it'll look a little more natural. I love that little section of that foothill, and I know if I'd I'm not good at chess, apparently. I would have left that showing a little bit more, but that's okay. We know it's back there, so that's all that really matters. And you'll see here, we're heading down the homeward path here. There we go. I love how those trees look. Man, those are really nice trees. Again, just down in here, like this, these two just kind of grow together. So, and how do we determine which one's in front? Highlighting. Wherever we put the light, we'll determine which one is closer to us. Or maybe they're on the same plane. I don't know. There we go. Something like that. Well, I like those. Now, you could have shifted them all the way over and closed that off, but on this one I don't usually, for whatever reason. We all have different reasons for how we paint something. I want to raise it up just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I've never really shown it. You can do up trees with this. It's the same way. I think about doing an up tree though. I may switch back to the fan. I don't know. I haven't done a filbert up tree in so long. And you know I'm talking about up trees. A certain person calls them up trees. What are they? I don't know. Are they cedars? You know, whatever. We'll call them Alaskan trees. That's not what they look like. Actually, the Alaskan ones, a lot of them are not quite this full. And there's a lot of dead ones up there, so. If you watched my last video, you can probably tell I'm partial to Alaska now. Easy to see why anyone that would go up there would start painting. Or maybe take up photography. I know that when we were up there, goodness gracious, I was driving, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta stop. He's like, you just stopped. So she was smart and allowed extra time for us to get places because she knew that I would stop. I was laying down the road, not very populated where we were at. I was laying down the road, just taking pictures of everything. 10 different pictures of the same spot. I'll stand up a minute here away from the easel and just give this a look here. Oh yeah. All right. I'll tell you what I'm going to try, just so you can get a better, look at that. There we go. That gives a little more shine on my canvas. That way you guys can see a little bit better. I'm going to pause this and get my, all right. I had to get some paper towels. I think I paused it before I finished saying what I was doing. All right, got me a couple paper towels just to wipe my brush out. I'm going to actually thinner clean it. Because I was crazy and didn't bring two back here for some reason. Even though I have a whole bunch of these now. This is the paint with brown filbert. It's a pretty good, I really like the filbert. I like the filbert. There's not a brush I don't like. They work well. Steve and I tested these all last year. And then when Steve got sick, he kind of said, I'm going to take a back seat for a while. I was like, well, what about the brushes we keep promising? I'm like, well, you put your name on them. So I did. And I think they're pretty good, guys. If there's any issues, if you buy any, you know who to contact. Not a major corporation here that you're buying from. I'm going to take a clean brush now. Cover my thinner back up because that stuff stinks. If I need to thin down to make this stick, I'll use linseed oil. As it runs off my palette. I'm gonna get a little bit of white, just a little speck of white on my filbert, and then I'm gonna get a little bit of green and just one little tiny touch of blue. Mostly green. The predominant color here is green. There we go. I like a little bit of a blue green. I'll show you what this kind of comes out looking like. Blue green reminds me of an evergreen. One of my favorite colors is actually take blue and brown, Prussian blue and burnt umber will usually give you almost a green. It's kind of a very pretty color. I'm thinning this down with just a little bit of linseed oil. You'll see what I've got here. I actually touched just a bit of our dark that we've been using in here, just a bit. I always like to kind of load this brush up. And again, I've got a little bit of linseed oil in it. It's bright, but again, this is, I think I've mentioned this before. I don't always paint for realism. Sometimes I paint for fun. Funism, right? So this is what we're doing here. Let's just take this brush and barely just touch. And I think most of our light on this side is going to hit this side of the tree, but again, we've got to highlight the whole tree. What we don't want to do though is we don't want to cover up all the dark. If we cover up all of our dark, we've lost a tree. And if we lose our trees, we might be sad. We don't want to lose our trees. Nobody likes a lost tree. You guys know me at all, you know how many trees I have. We keep buying trees. Lowe's had some on clearance. What do we get? Atlas cedar. Oh, I played it right. They had a purple ghost Japanese maple. We've got a couple of the ghosts. We don't have a purple one. Karen just went and asked if they would mark it down any low. It was on 50% off. So it was like 3 something what they were trying to sell it for. And that was 50% off of that. She's like, would you take less? They marked it down like 75% off. Or about 70, I guess, actually. But anyway, we ran out the door with it. That's for sure. I always take a little bit of the color and let it spill over. But I always wait till the brush kind of gets the cheeriest part of the paint out of there. That's why I say that. The highlightest, the brightest, I guess I should say, part of the paint. And I'll show you here just in a second. Let me get this one down here. And I can place these a little bit. When I get here, I just kind of, and that almost acts like a shadow. So it's a little bit less pressure on that too. And as I come down in here, I don't even know where this tree will stop. My hand's shaking. I'm trying to just tap it lightly down in there. Somewhere in there. Big old, hey, these are Atlas cedars or Alaskan cedars, I don't know. Over here again, probably the brightest spots in here somewhere. You can make it up, whatever. Nothing to this. It's your world, so you've got to decide what lives in it. And this one shows up even better because you're into the sky. Excuse me. That one I made just a tad bit bright because it's a lot of green there. And you can always change those things as you see them. I'm just kind of painting on the fly here. Even though I painted this one before, they all turn out different. You probably know that if you paint already. Every painting you could try to copy. But they don't always turn out the same. And I think that's cool. I don't want them to turn out the same. I've got a printer over here. I could just print a picture of a painting and, do those, hang those up on the wall. So I like a little bit of variation when I'm painting. I also like to run my mouth so that you guys don't have the dead silence as I'm painting. You feel free. Go ahead if you haven't already done it. If you've already done it, you won't hear this. Go ahead. Feel free to mute it and just watch me paint. There we go. Again, maybe as I get down in here, I don't want it as bright as that other one. You see how nicely you can get really nice layered trees with this filbert? And again, you could paint it with the fan. Try one. I'd encourage you to try one. Paint it with the fan if you're worried about how long it takes to paint it with the filbert to start with. And then highlight it with the filbert. Still works. And it works great. And it really does. Wherever, a little bit of light plays in here, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Just a big old shaggy tree, so you want it kind of dark in there. I realized I didn't make up enough highlight color. I would just touch a little bit on the top there. I've been abusing this filbert. It's got one little errant here I might have to cut off. That happens. That happens with brushes sometimes. Well, maybe I don't have to cut it off. I didn't chisel my brushes with the problem. Sometimes that happens too. Sometimes it's user error. But if we always have something to blame, it's always nice. I need a scapegoat sometimes. This one I'm gonna leave pretty dark. Actually, I'm gonna do something right here that I see. I like this one. Now this is kind of weird here, but maybe this one's a little bit into that one. I don't. Ooh, it's very weird now. Sometimes you get too similar a shape on there. I'll finish this one out here. One little thing about painting trees, you're painting them right next to each other. Try to find the highlights to go into the dark for this tree. So this one has a little dark there. I tried to put a little bit of highlight into that dark, and it helps it sit in the tree a little bit better. That was an old Steve trick he likes to use. Wherever we think down in here, doesn't really matter. Let's kind of keep it dark for that one. Yeah, those are some big trees, guys. Woo! Now I'm going to take the best brush that I have. A little script liner. Well, it's not even little. Look at that thing. It's a big one. Now, if you're using this script liner, make sure that you put some oil in it. This one is synthetic, but if you clean it really well, wipe it out really good, make sure all the paint's out of it, then put just a little bit of mineral oil or something in it. It will stay cleaner, and it will work longer for you, and you'll have a better time of it. That goes for any script liner. I don't care what brand you have. You should always put a little bit of oil back in them. And you know me, I like these crazy little stick trees and things. You don't have to put these, but I like them. You know, well, we don't know where this tree ends, so there's one. Maybe there's maybe. There's another one right here. A little more straight on that one. Maybe these are dead birch trees. I don't know. They're still waiting to grow up though. See that? I'm gonna keep all these kind of clustered in here together. Ooh, don't want to be the same. I'll raise that one up just a little bit. There we go. This one branches off again. Something like that. I love those. Always have this. They mean nothing. I don't mean them to mean anything. I'm going to take a little bit dirty, just a little dirty white. And again, this may look awful, so wait and watch me do this step. Not much paint though. I just want to run some little twigs and things out. These trees have branches too. We always think of these as evergreens, and they just have what you see. Well, you've got to sometimes put a little branch or two in there. It looks way better. You just don't want to put too many. Like that one got a little big on me. I mean, like seriously, you could, on a white canvas, what I would do is usually just scratch these in with a knife. These are little details that add something to your painting. Kind of run out now. You can even grab some of the dark and bring it out. That looks cool too. Like that. Wherever. I think one more thing. We about got it. We need a signature. I'm going to take just a touch of white. A little bit of our dark. And just marble those colors. What I mean by that is don't mix them to one solid color. Mostly. I'm just going to see what this looks like, guys. Just to see. Yeah, maybe just a hair of any more white. Maybe just a hair of a chunk in there. Here and there, like literally, see that? It really is just a little piece showing here and there. Yeah, I'll put a little more in that one. Now, if you do that, what I encourage you to do next, really easily, real easy step, just kind of knock the top into there, maybe the bottom. I really don't think mine needed too much, but there, that one needs a little bit. It puts them into the tree, that way you don't see them too much, and that one I got a little too big there, I'll just kind of cover up like that. We look at it, we say that's pretty good for demonstration painting. That didn't take us all that long. Cleaner brush. And, oh, I'm kind of digging this little green I got going on here. It's the dark color with white in it. I'll use that. And I think I'll sign on the right today. I don't usually sign on the right. I'm usually the left side of the canvas guy. I don't have my brush chiseled the way I should. There we go. And there we go. Paint with Bram. Holiday lights. I don't know, kind of looks like it could be. There we go. Super easy, super fun, super quick, especially if you did your trees with a fan brush. But again, those trees highlighted look way better than a fan brush highlight to me. For me, I feel I can get better angles and things on the trees with the filbert when I'm highlighting. The foothills, again, super easy. There's nothing hard on this, guys. Anybody can do this one, and you can make it even nicer. Guarantee that. So, sap green, crimson, Prussian blue, and white. That's all you need. Again, I use linseed oil to cover the canvas. Then I put my colors on from wherever you want. And then we went to town, right? Alright, there we go. Another video done. This one's a fun one. I love this one. So easy to do. Try it out. If you try it, send it to me. Let me see it. Alright guys, this is, let's see what today is. This is November the 27th. I'll try to do another one next week. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I hope everybody has a good upcoming holiday season. Alright, take care everybody. See you later.